Hello and welcome back to our next lesson here on our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be continuing in our series about Jesus, and we're going to be talking about in Mark chapter 4 today. We're going to be talking about a parable that Jesus gives us. And so far we haven't had parables that Jesus has given. He's done some pretty incredible things. He healed a man that was suspended through a roof by his friends and forgave him of his sins and also healed him. And he's also healed a man in the temple with the withered hand. And now the Pharisees are kind of out to kind of get him. And so today we're going to be continuing on and talking about this parable. And basically just what a parable is, it's a short story that has a specific meaning behind it. And Jesus taught in a lot of these because they were easy to understand because they related to the world around people. And so this parable that we're looking at today deals with basically planting and growing crops. And so the people would be very familiar with how this worked, essentially. And so this wouldn't be crazy news to them to hear about what Jesus is about to say, but it has a different meaning when Jesus says it. And so the parable goes like this. He says, a man who is a farmer goes out and he begins to just plant seed in many different places. He plants it on really great soil. He plants it in on rocky soil, and he plants it in some bushes among some other plants. And when some of the seed fell onto the rocky ground, it didn't take root, and so it just died. The seed that fell in with the other thorns and bushes, it grew quickly for a short period of time, but then eventually was killed because it was surrounded by all these plants. But the seed that had fallen on the really good soil, it sprouted up and it grew, and it was a huge crop, and even more so than what the farmer would have thought. And so it was a great source of joy because it increased so much in this one crop.
Yeah, so the thing about Jesus is about his parables. Not everybody understood it the moment that he told these parables. And so what would happen is the disciples would come later on and ask him, like, oh, okay, what did you mean by this parable? And this was kind of like a way that Jesus wanted to make sure that the message would go for people who would actually want to understand it. For those who just wanted to listen to the parable and not do anything about it, they would not get the message. But if you would go and say, Jesus, I want to know what this is all about, then he would actually explain it. And in this case, he's talking about that there is the seed that is being thrown out, that this person throwing it out is actually the good news that, about him, and just how he has been going and telling people about the good news and spreading this message is like this seed. But when it comes to different people will actually take that seed and do completely different things with it. So there are those who will learn about it and be like, oh, that's very interesting. But when trials and tribulations and just life gets hard, like when it fell on the rocks on the ground, then it doesn't actually grow and have a foundation. It will just wither and die. So the people who just like after facing these trials and they're like, you know what, I don't want to do anything with this good news with Jesus and all that, they will just forget about it. Then there are those who will actually like start accepting this message and like, yeah, I believe in Jesus and this good news and what he has to bring to me. But because of their surroundings, because of what life, because of the job that they have, because of, the responsibilities they have, they don't really do anything with that message. So honestly, these people, although they will grow and accept this message, they won't produce a crop. They won't actually be like a blessing. But then he says that the ones who are the good soil are the ones who actually accept it and do something about it. So the gospel that in this message that Jesus is trying to give to people is not one so that we can sit and be like, yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. It's because Jesus actually wanted people to take this to heart and actually do something about it. So really in the last verse here in verse 20 it says, but those that were sown on the good soil are the ones who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. So those who really take the message of Jesus and actually, yes, that is what I am going to do, that means that they are going to see this blessing of being able to do even more than for those who just like, okay, cool, that's pretty cool about it. So this is really about it, is just that, okay, Mark right here is giving us the good news, this one that Jesus is telling us right now. And the question is, who are we, how are we going to accept it, and what are we going to do about it? So Jesus, he's giving this good news to people, and it is our question to us about what are we going to do with that good news, and are we going to be a blessing? Are we going to actually show a crop about it?
And so we'll talk a little bit more about this at youth group tonight. But otherwise, then we will see you on Saturday with our next video.
Yeah, see ya.